Good morning.
Right.
14th of June, Rabbi Levitt, Sefer Chofetz Chaim.
Okay. So we're going to start here from Klal Zion, Halacha Zion. V'atat naskil va'er be'ez Hashem din kabbalas lashon hara me'ish shehu meheman k'vei trei. There's a special din over here about a person who's listening to lashon hara being said to him by someone who is neman k'vei trei. He's a very trustworthy individual, and it's like two witnesses testified in Bezdin. He has that degree of believability.
Sorry, is he being centered or being told it face to face? What did you say?
Yeah, he's listening to this person speak. You want to know if it would qualify if it's on the Zoom? That's a good question. I would assume so.
Okay. Anyway.
Or there's another type of a person who is he's speaking lefi tumo, according to his innocence, which really means that he's not saying anything. You'll see what it means. He'll probably give an example, but he's not trying to get anybody to believe what he's saying. He's just saying something innocently, and that has a special believability, even with a person who is not necessarily so believable. Another example: Im yesh lo ala sipor hahu devorim hanikorim shehu emes. Or there's something about the story that he's saying itself that we could tell from what he's saying that there's indications in the story that he's saying over that it's true. Okay. Va'af kiberoiv hadinim him shavim. There, let's try like this. Afal pikein kalakti osam kol echad ve'echad b'sifim b'fnei atzmam. Even though the din in these three cases is roughly the same, I've allocated them in three separate sections. Each one has different details than the other one, and it's necessary to speak about them separately. וגם שלא יסערבבו עיני הקורא מפני רובוי הנופים שמספשטים מכל אחד ואחד. It'll make it easier for the reader to read it. וזה החלי בעזרס החוינן לאדם דס. And this is my acheli. This is my valor that I have involved myself to do this. And Hashem is giving me the das. Okay, Hashem should give me the help, says the Chofetz Chaim. Okay, so here he's now going to explain. Isser Kabbalas Lashon Hora, the prohibition of receiving Lashon Hora. Filu im shama mi'ish shehu meheiman le kedivrei shnei edim. Even if he hears it from a person who has the level of believability of two witnesses testifying in a bezdin. Makashasabnu le'el b'klal daled sif hey demuta legalos ha'inyan b'hatsneya l'rabboi u'le'ish sodo. This is what we said previously, that it's permissible to reveal such information in private to the person's Rav or his person that he confides in. Im yeda asher yamin devorov kedivrei shnei edim, Umutter l'rabboi l'kabel davar zeh, u'lisno oso, u'lisrachek mechevrasoi, ad asher yivad aloi, sheshav midarko hara. Okay, you got the scenario over here. We got three people. We have we have Jew number 1 and 2 and 3. If you want, we could call them Beryl and Shmerel and Yosela. But personally, I think it is easier to just say 1, 2, and 3. The person number 1 is saying over to person number 2 about person number 3. And
number 3 there?
What's that?
Is number 3 there? Or
No.
No, he's not there.
No.
Okay.
No, he's not there. And this is not just Stam Lashon Hora over here. He's saying to another person. He's talking to the person. He's talking. Person number 1 is talking to person number 2 about person number 3, and person number 2 is the Rav or the mentor, we could say, of person number 3. So the reason why he's saying this to him has a benefit. It's not just he's stam knocking person number 3 and degrading person number 3, but he's saying it in order that person number 2 will deal with the situation and improve the behavior of person number 3. Okay, so let's just read this over again. Issa Kabbalas Lashon Shehu Mehemen Leikabei Trei Edim Masha Kasavnu. Okay, so now he's going in and he's talking about something which is related, but it's not one of the 3 cases that he just got to mentioning. He's saying this that we said previously, that it's permissible to reveal not complimentary information about person number 3 in private to person number 2, who is his Rav or his mentor. Im yeda asher yamin devoro, if it's going to be known that he will that 2 will accept these words from person number 1, as if, in other words, person number 1 has to have a high degree of believability, similar to the case of Neman Kabei Trey that we're talking about over here. Mutila l'raboy, and so therefore it'll be now permissible for the Rav or the mentor to believe this Lashon Hora, l'kabel davar zeh. And therefore, as a result of him believing this, now what is he telling him that he did? He's telling him that he, for example, he went into a treif restaurant and ordered a hamburger or something of that sort. He's talking about the fact that he saw that person number 3 did an Aveira. You don't like that Aveira, pick your own Aveira. And what's the response of the Rav? Lisno also to show a sinna towards person number 3. Ulisrachek me chevrasoi. And what does that mean? To distance himself from his involvement with that person, not to deal with him in a congenial way. Ad asher yivad aloi sheshav midarko hara, until he finds out that the person did tshuva. Hainu sham shehu davar asher lefi ha'emes mutar l'saper b'gnusoi avozeh. And like we're saying, this Lashon Hora is allowed to be said and it's allowed to be believed. Because you see that it's for purposes of toelis. It's not for, it's so to get the person to stop doing the Aveira that he was doing. Imlo asa tshuva, if he does not do tshuva, kevan sha'ava b'mezid al avan davar hamafursam B'Yisrael shu asur. If he doesn't do tshuva, since it's the type of avera that everybody knows that you have to eat kosher food and you can't eat treif. Everybody knows that it's asur, and he is continuing to do this. He hasn't done tshuva. She'ein litlos alav od shum schus. We don't have any other reason to. One day he was going, I don't know, whatever. We don't have any reason to assume that to try to make it so that he really didn't do anything wrong, to judge him favorably. We don't have any way to do that anymore. Gegon b'masa the tuvia b'psachim shu inyan niu for kiyotze bezeh. There's a Gemara in Psachim about this, that the facts are undeniable, and devarim nikarim. It's clearly recognizable that the person is doing an avera that everyone knows is totally forbidden, such as matters of forbidden relationships between men and women. And this person over there in the Gemara was involved in such a situation. Lo kain v'dava sheyesh litlos alav schus, which is not the case by a matter which we could give the person the benefit of the doubt and judge him favorably. Kagon, for example, v'chesron yedias isra masa. Maybe the person doesn't know that you're not allowed to wear shatnez. He never heard of such a thing. Oh, ulai b'shkaga boliodo. Or perhaps he doesn't realize that it does in fact contain shatnez. Maybe the store owner told him that it has no shatnez in it, but he's wrong. Ola sapero love divrei dofi uganai ba'alma. Or the person is talking about the person things which are not true. O be'inyan shlilas hamalos. Or a matter of that the person has a shlilas hamalis, means a negation. Sholil is a language of negation. Malos, I believe he's probably referring to character. He has a certain character flaw, let's say. Ukanao, or things of that sort. So in all of these cases, the person is not doing it intentionally with malicious thoughts. Chas v'shalom. Olis korolov masa avosa v'kroivav, or to talk about his past, or the past of his relatives or ancestors. Oh, masa v'rishonim. Vadai lo shaykh bezeh meheiman kebei trei. In that situation, so then it's not possible to give this person number one the absolute believability of two witnesses in Bezdin to allow one to believe that the person number three is doing an avera. The mai habe iadover hazeh eino sheker. It's not the point that it's that what he's saying is untrue. Afal pikein, nevertheless, asra hatorah lahamasaper lesaper begnuso avorzeh. It's forbidden for person number one to relate such information to person number two, because it's not the type of thing which makes person number three into a Russia, someone who is willfully violating a Torah prohibition that everyone knows is forbidden. Rak ladono letzedek b'inyan zeh. There, rather, person number two has to either stop the person number one from talking, and certainly to not believe it, and give the person number three the benefit of the doubts. And he wouldn't be required to distance himself from his company or association. Ulahamakabel gamkein asur lahachlit beliboy es chaveru lignus avor zeh ukanal. And okay, so we've already said this. To accept the story to the extent that he decides person number two in his heart to denigrate person number three on account of such information. Milvad iser kabbalah over alav the lifnei ibelo seitein miksho. Oh, now actually he's talking about person number one. Person number one would be guilty of perhaps lifnei iber in regard to saying these things to person number two. Im kama asin belavin hamavorim le'el b'psicha. Together with other assorted Torah prohibitions that we mentioned. Kevin shamasaper v'adai over al isur lashon hara kamavor b'kol poskim to lashon hara hu afilu al emes. Doesn't matter that the person number one is saying something which is true. It's nevertheless lashon hara because such information about person number three should not be related. And person number two, in allowing person number one to say this, once he gets the drift of what he's saying, it will be usher for him to continue to listen to him. Because it's all, if he wouldn't want to listen to him, person number one wouldn't come to do an isser. Because she is kabel yoser lefund of divrei masaper, yeah, ahanu maasav, yeah yoter gurua la mekabel gamken. Shal yodo bo chavero leisser godol kazeh. Okay. Okay, yeah, basically what he said there, I didn't translate word for word, basically included in what I already explained. Okay, so that is Halacha Zion. And we go to Halacha Ches. Afilu b'kagon masad tuvia hanal. Even in regard to this Gemara in Psachim, where there was a person who was doing a known avera that all Jews know is forbidden. Eino mutter lekabel stam. It's not permissible for person number two to receive such information in all cases. Rak behitztaref el zeh shnei hapratim tzarich lizaher behem be'inyan hakabbalah. There are two conditions which need to be present in order for person number two to listen and hear and accept such information. So condition number one, Aleph, Dafka im siperlo shera'a davar zeh ba'atzmo. Person number one cannot say that he saw person number three. He has to have seen it. He has to have seen it with his own eyes. What he's saying to person number two, he has to have seen with his own eyes. Aval im shama mipi acherim ein lahamesaper azeh shum yisron klal. But if he's simply hearing from other people who told him that person number three did this avera, so then he's not allowed to say it over to person number two. Okay, Tanai base, condition number two, afilu im siper lo shera'a ba'atzmo. Even if person number one says to person number two that he has seen it with his own eyes, ein mutter rak lahaminoi ulaharchik es atzmo mechavrosa. The only thing that person number two is allowed to do over here is to believe it, that it's true, and to distance himself from the person's association and his congenial company, Ad asher yivada sheshav midarko hara, until he hears that person number 3 has done tshuva. Aval lo leilech ulasaper davar zeh la'acherim. Person number 2 is not allowed to say this over to anyone else. Kamosh kasavnu le'el, klal daled, sof sif hey. Umikol shekain she'ein lahafsidoi b'mamon o lahakoso has v'sholom al yedei zeh. And all the more so, he's not allowed to cause any monetary loss. Person number 3, or to patch him, right? Lakoso, to give him a patch for such things that he simply heard about. Okay. Tess. Okay, now we're going to discuss the second case. This person is not Neman Kabei Trey. We're talking about the same general scenario. We got person number 1 talking to person number 2, who's the Rav or the mentor, about person number 3. And person number 1 is saying that person number 3, he saw him do a known avera. Everybody knows it's usher. I'm just thinking that now. Did I say? I don't remember very clearly whether he's allowed to go and say this to him if he saw it just once.
He didn't mention anything like that.
He says until he does tshuva.
Right.
Okay, so those details are not 100% clear over here. I leave that for a question. But so this person now, the Chofetz Chaim is talking about the second case. The person number 1 is not a Neman Kabei Trey individual. He's not a person that person number 2 accepts what he says as totally authoritative, as if 2 witnesses in Bezdin testified to it. But why should he believe it? What he's saying? Because person number 1 is saying it, he's Masiach Lefi Tumo.
Which means?
He's talking about it in a way which let's see if he gives an example of what it is. He'll give an example, hopefully. Actually, I see over here, B'davar zeh, umash nikra lefi tumo yispar b'ber ma'im Chaim. He says, go take a look in Ber Ma'im Chaim what it means, Masif lefi tumo. So we go down to Ber Ma'im Chaim, the Os Tes Zion. He says over here, Masif lefi tumo. Er levar kan. Let's explain this. Ma nikra lefi tumo. What does it mean that a person is speaking lefi tumo, innocently? Even though we don't really need to explain this. Kevan, did the maskinon levaso conclude shafilu le'inyan lahamin belibo bilvad lo yismoch al lefi tumo. We're not really allowed to rely on this story because the person was saying it innocently. Rak choshashni b'davar ulai yimsa mi sheyirtza lachloik al datenu upen yimsa raya al zeh mibavli or yishalmi shemifi masiach lefi tumoy muter lahamin belibo. Yoter mizeh bevadai asur. L'chem mitzasi es atzmi mechuyev bedavar lehodia lekol mahu nikra lefi tumo kedei shelo yite לפחות בדבר זה. Okay, so Chofetz Chaim is saying over here that this doesn't have the same level of authority as the first level of Neman Kabei Trey. That the Rav would not be able to distance himself from the company of this individual on account of hearing this report from person number one. At most, he would be able to simply believe it in his heart that what the person number one told him is true, but any more than that, he would not be able to take any action. Okay, so he gave us that warning before he tells us what actually it involves. Hopefully, he's going to tell us over here. It looks like it's a rather long note. Okay, let's see over here. Umitchila atatzorich leda. Okay, looks like we're going to have another introduction. Kan b'inyonei lashon hara lo idami le'edus isha l'kol davar. Tesham ima omer al isha shemeis bala ha'yisrael afilu im eino mesiach lefi tumo umiskaven lo ha'id neman umesin al piv. Okay, maybe we could skip this. Let's go to the next paragraph. Uneve'er katzas bipratov. V'zeh loshen hashulchan aruch. Even Ezer. Kfar amarnu sha'akum she'asiach lefi tumoy masin al piv. So the Shulchan Aruch brings in that even a non-Jew, right, who generally is not his testimony is in matters of monetary concern. But if he innocently relates, shasiach lefi tumo, masian al piv, we even allow a woman to get married on his say-so. Ketzad, how is such a thing possible? The goy, he's not in Bezdin, by the way. I don't think so, because that itself is the exact opposite of Mesiach Lefi Tumo. The whole case is a bit complicated over here. Mesiach Lefi Tumo means that he's one of the things is that he's not intending to testify in a Bezdin. The minute a person comes to testify in a Bezdin, he's trying to be believed. He knows that they're listening to his words to see whether they're true. So somebody who's not an honorable individual will try to go like this and go like that and go like that and make his story believable, and maybe alter some of the details to make sure that anything that sounds like it's not believable will, yes, be believable. So we're not looking for that type of a situation. We're looking for the type of situation where a person is not in the Bezdin. He's not intending that anybody should believe what he says. He's just relating what he knows that to be true, that it happened. And it's talking about a very grave and substantial type of information that he's relating, such as this, that the goy says over here. He says, "Oi." You didn't know that a goy would say "Oy vey," right? Well, so he says, "Oi, leploni, woe to Ploni, a Jew, shemes, he passed away." Right now, why would a goy say that? Unless it wasn't true. Unless it was true. He's just innocently relating a piece of information. Kama haya nova, kama toiva osa imi. And now he's giving a eulogy about Plony. He's saying, "Oh, Plony, he was so nice to me. He was a good guy. He was a good Jew. That's what he was. He did many good things with me." Now, this guy, why would he say that unless it was true? If it wouldn't be true, he's got no motive. What's information, which is a very, a weighty piece of information. Somebody died. You don't just go joking around about such a thing like that. You don't just say something like that for nothing. Not even a person we wouldn't necessarily believe on other matters. We would believe him over here, and we would even allow his wife to get remarried on that basis. And he's just relating innocently, without intending that people believe what he's saying necessarily. That's not his point in saying what he's saying. He's just relating his feelings about this matter. So Hare Ze Neman, this goy is going to be believed. He's going to be believed to such an extent that we are going to allow his wife to remarry. That's amazing. Such a serious thing. If the husband was really not dead, and the Beis Din allows on the basis of what this guy said, his wife to remarry, that's a serious prohibition of Ashes Ish. That's a death penalty, and we're believing this information that this guy is relating innocently. Okay, so there you have an example of what it means, Mesiach Lefi Tumo.
So what if if the goy has an interest in the death of this man for some reason, some sort of interest that maybe if this man died, then he would be given some money or something like that?
Right. Yeah. So now you're asking about the halachic details of the situation, right? So I didn't say that whenever a goy says these words that we allow his wife to get married. That wasn't my point. That wasn't the Chofetz Chaim's point. Chofetz Chaim's point over here is to simply relate an example of what it means when an individual is Mesiach Lefi Tumo.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So don't anybody go and say that Rabbi Levitt said that if a goy says this and this, that his wife can get remarried. Okay? That's the point.
What will you give me for that? For not saying it.
Okay. So you can see that these matters are yeah. I mean, he finishes his comment base Shmuel. That's one of the commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch. Kol shebo leBeis Din laha'id. Anybody who comes to Beis Din to testify, afilu im hu Mesiach Lefi Tumo, even if he's simply innocent, so to speak, innocently relating this story that he knows. Lo mahani, it will not help if he goes to Beis Din and says this. Because maybe his intention is to give testimony. V'hochanami b'inyanenu yehi nikra lefi tumoy kol she'anu ro'im she'en kavanaso b'sipuroi kedei lignoso ola orer bazeh madonim al chavero. So like Roy says, maybe there is some additional piece of information about this goy, which we would need to know, which would disqualify this what he's saying as being Messiah Pituma. It looks to us on the face of it that he is innocently relating something that he knows to be true. Roy's saying, well, maybe he's not doing that. Okay, that could be. That could be. Well, we would need to know. We would need to know. But that is what Messiah Vitumo is all about. He has no motive. He has no reason to say this information. He's just simply relating it innocently. And when it comes to Lashon Hora, he's just simply, he doesn't mean to denigrate the individual. He doesn't, he's not intending to get the person in trouble or get him, get the authorities on his head. He's not intending to do that. Rak lefi tumoy masaper stam masa shahaya. He's simply innocently relating the facts of a something that he knows to be true. Okay. So now we go further in the Chofetz Chaim. Din hachi. So what's the din in such a case when person number one relates innocently to person number two? Im yesh be'inyan hazeh afilu im hu emes l'shafto l'tzad asklus, o she'inyan zeh hu be'inyanei shlilas amalos, o echad mishar pratim sheba'arnu le'el b'sif zayin, o shezeh hamasaper lo ro davar zeh ba'atzmo rak shama mipi acherim b'vadai osa l'kabel imenu u'lahaklit b'libo l'ganai al chavero. So another condition for believing, even though person number one is saying lefi tumo to person number two. If there's a way to l'shavto l'tzad haskus, to judge him favorably, even though the information is true, but it doesn't mean that it makes the person into a Russia. Or altogether, it's a matter that he doesn't have elevated character traits. He did something which was callous or unthoughtful, something of that sort. So now, even though that's not a proper type of a thing to do, and a person could be very offended by such a thing, but per se, it's not in the same category as going into a McDonald's and eating treif. Oh, echad mishar pratov sheba'arnu le'el. Or the person did not see what he's relating innocently with his own eyes. He's basically saying he heard the following thing. We get out from what he's saying. He didn't see it. In those cases, it is forbidden to accept what is being said and to decide in his heart, talking about person number two, that the person number three has done something, has done an avera. Even if we don't have one of these aforementioned details, we can still he's not allowed to go and, all the more so, he's not allowed to go and relate such information to somebody else. All of us also bitvarim avor, or to go to number 3 and give him a tongue lashing on account of the fact that he acted rudely to an individual. Kal v'chomer ben beno shel kal v'chomer le'inyan lahafsido avor zeh b'mamon. And all the more so, he would not be able to do anything to cause him a monetary loss. In other words, to go to his employer or something of that sort. Ola hakoso has v'sholom, or to give him a patch. Vadai asur min haTorah. That would be absolutely forbidden min haTorah in such a circumstance. Okay, we got up to Yud. Any questions of what we did so far? We did Zayin and Ches, and Zayin and Ches and Tes. Okay, we did 3 halachas. Okay, so we'll leave the third case is im yeshalav devarim nikorim. That's the third case that he's going to talk about over here. I'll just read the first couple words that he says over here. What are devarim nikorim? Shenira al yedei zeh shemash mesaprim alav hu emes. The person is not authoritative, believable individual 100%. He's not saying lefi tumo, he's not innocently relating, but nevertheless, we could tell by various details that he's relating that what he is saying is certainly true. That's devarim nikarim. So this is Chofetz Chaim is going to say what's the din in regard to person number 2 over here in believing what he says and taking any action based upon believing that. Din hachi. The din is im yesh be'inyan hazeh afilu im hadavar emes, even if it's true, l'shofter l'tzad schus, or b'inyan shlilas hamalus, or b'kol shar pratim b'mavorim, lo shaykh b'zeh devarim min nikorim. B'vadai anu mechuyavim l'dono l'kaf schus. We're certainly required to judge him favorably. Kevin shu ish beinuni, since he's a ish beinuni. He's not. We don't know this person, even though we don't know him to be a great righteous person. But we also know that he's not a Russia. He's a fine individual, basically. Kadesha lo yisbaze al yidei zeh b'inyonim. Canal. Val imhu davar asher ein limso tzad schus al hoseu mutar lahaminu lekabel. So if there is no way to judge that what was done was not an avera, like he's implying, so then it would be permissible to believe that he did this avera. What does it mean? What are the 2 things? He has a note on that, on the bottom, that we're not going to go into. But obviously, if he used those 2 words, mostly he's talking about 2 different things that are ramifications of this case. And with that, we conclude. Oh, so we did Yud also. Okay. All right.
Very good. See you in 15 minutes or so.
Be'ezus Hashem. And we wish Roy, wish Roy a great day, but we also especially wish Meir a great day, because he's going to be leaving us now and going to Rabbi Fairman. So all the best, Meir.
Okay, everyone should be well.
Amen. You too.
Thank you.
We'll be back.